Hey, hey, do you hear what they're talking about over there? What? Huh? What are you talking about? I don't know. It sounds kind of weird. Make me a little curious, though. We should go over there. You want to go over there? Yeah, come on, let's go over there. All right, okay, let's go over there.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Whispering at the Party with Team Neuvias. I'm Haleigh Overstep. We've got Murray Angel here, Carol and Margie also with us. Hey, fam.
Hey.
Hey, Haleigh.
Welcome, everybody. I'm excited for us to talk about today's topic. We are going to be alchemists today. We're going to transmute trauma into gold. It's going to be brilliant. I can't wait. And we're going to start with Carol over there because I know she's got a tarot deck for us to give us a little bit of a direction and a lead.
Absolutely. Since we are dealing with trauma today, I am going with the Archangel Raphael. And these cards are a little different. Yeah. They
Right.
they actually have a prayer with them versus an actual reading. So we'll just go into what the prayer is saying for us today. All right, Archangel Raphael. Michael's here too.
Well, naturally.
Inner authority. And so I don't know if you can see this card here, but it does say, Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for supporting me as I take back my power and listen to my intuition, desires, and feeling. So
I appreciate that. Well, so what can you kind of give us then as we'll start there for you, Carol. What's your read then on that card as it relates to, obviously you are taking your power back when you transmute trauma, but what else would you channel through as that card in this topic?
I think what Archangel Raphael is trying to tell us, like, enough of the victimization, enough of the stuff that brings you down, enough of the worrying, the pain and stuff. And now it's time to step back into your power and claim what is right for you. I know sometimes that can be hard because a lot of us want to give our power to others when they don't necessarily need it at all. It's like a vampire zapping all your energy, so to speak. And so now it's time for us to come and say, you know what, I've had enough. I'm ready to step back into my well-being and what's going to benefit me in the long run versus everybody else in your surroundings.
That's very valid. You do need to be mindful of where you place your energy, right? And so that's maybe a good sort of place to start, because where you place your energy and mindset can make a lot of the determination as to whether you can transmute the trauma you've experienced. So maybe we'll just ask the group here, is there any personal experiences that come to mind for you that you might want to share or be willing to share with the audience that you've had to transmute as something that was traumatic? Who wants to start? Don't all raise your hands at once.
Let me run it. I would just run it.
We're like,
Carol, I would. First, I would actually just like to agree with the amount of energy that came from that one card and how accumulative that is for us as a collective as we move into this new way of life, a new paradigm, new understanding of living and being together collectively and individually. We spoke recently on the word selfish and what that means, and it's been coming up a lot more, being selfish. I think that card is a really clear indication, like not everyone's going to have the wherewithal to stand there and say, I demand to take back my power. We get that. I've been there myself. Most of us have. But you can start the process by looking up affirmations, looking up rituals, cord cuttings, things that are going to put you in that direction. And that is a step, an act of taking back your power. Very big one. I have a lot of experience with that firsthand.
Would you like to share a first-hand experience?
Absolutely. My experience is a little bit different than the peculiar experience that we're used to dealing with in the spiritual realm, because mine is a transitional experience for me, and it served as a catalyst. Back in 2018, I decided to go on a holiday. Nice little holiday to jail. I had a very great interest and passion for growing marijuana, a beautiful plant, resonant and sacred. So I had a lot of friendships around me at that point in my life and felt the need to be of service. And it gave me great purpose and meaning. So I dedicated most of my time and my energy to facilitating that lifestyle, not one that the government agreed with.
Well,
As a
they're
result of
getting
not
different
paying
about it.
tax, as a result of not being a contributing member of society under that framework, I went on a holiday. And that holiday gave me a great opportunity to take stock in a way that most of us don't get the opportunity. Unfortunately for me, it was under those settings, which at that time in my life probably seemed like hell. And I perceived much of that. But much to my guise and understanding, the amount of gold that I have received from my understanding of what that experience has done for me now, moving into who I am, it's quite clear to see that the duality of this experience, we can't be one without the other. In order to stand here today and share this story, I had to experience that. I had to know the lengths and the degrees that I can go to and forget myself through these acts of punishment, severity, disconnection, being out of integrity and accountability, not with the world. Well, yes, with the world, with yourself, because we're all one. We are the world. So going back to 0 point energy with disturbance gave me a very, very, very long time, 10 months, to recalculate, to restructure, and to repurpose that energy. Not to dwell, not to procrastinate, and not to judge. I observed, as we all do. I experienced, and I propelled through that to create emotion with my energy that allowed me to catalyst what I took as one of the worst experiences in my life. I didn't sign up to come here to do that. Yes, I did. So that I could have something substantial as a foundation in myself, a compass to point me in a direction back to a place where I could remember that those things were not there to break us or me, my example, but to show me how purposeful we are and how expansive we can be if we choose to use our free will. Trauma for me is not what it used to be now. I just don't see trauma the same way. I've seen it as an opportunity, an invitation, and a journey. And I chase that journey. So that's how I perceive trauma. And from that one very big experience has landed me right here in this moment with these amazing feminines that have their own insights and gold transmutational stories. And that allows us to be in an environment now where we hope that, and we pray, we really pray, that the energy we've had and received in our personal experiences collectively combines to be the gold that you need to fuse for your catalyst of understanding trauma and how it serves you.
I appreciate you sharing that and being vulnerable. And I do think it's very, we've talked about it before in the group, that it's important to share your stories and the things that you've been through, because there's probably a lot of people who have been in that experience and have taken on whatever things external people might think of them because of it and allowed it to really damage their self-esteem or what they believe they can do in the world. And a lot of times trauma will do that to you. It'll make you think that you don't have the capacity to do things that you maybe used to be able to do or wanted to do before that happened. And then afterwards you have to, like you said, take stock and sort of, so maybe from the group, or Marie Angel, from you, what are maybe some of the things now that you have come through the other side of that you would say were really valuable reasons to have experienced that you can say it was actually a good thing that happened? I found this, that, or the other. about myself or as a tool I could use going forward?
Amazing. Two things come straight to mind for me. One is the amount of isolation that society allowed me to partake in and exercise as my birthright prior to that experience. It was very easy for me, and I'm sure many masculines and feminines, just humans in general, to create an isolation, a silo, if you will, where we could reside. We couldn't be hurt. The world couldn't take advantage of us, and therefore, nobody could abandon us, sabotage us, or have an effect on us that would cause that low self-esteem and that less than fortunate personality experience in those moments. And the second thing was presence. Just a gift of being present, even prior to the spiritual awakening. Just being present and seeing the things that are around me rather than focusing every bit of attention on the things that are in me. Wow, did that change my perspective? Wow, did that catalyze the detachment and discernment from that very word, that vessel, trauma itself? It really did. It's like in life, you need a certain level of space to occur or light for those aha and shifts, and absolutely propelling for me is the presence. And that's why I speak so highly of it, because that furthered for me with the spiritual awakening and how much of a gift that is, and the lesson and the value of being present, and how we have free will to use that to achieve such beautiful states and provide that to everyone around us in our field. It's unbelievable. It's the greatest gift ever. So those are my two things, for sure.
I love it. Margie, I see you having a thought.
I have so many thoughts.
I see it.
You know, I actually wrote I'm in the process of finishing up a book about trauma and how traumas in my life and how I found the blessings in them. And, you know, everybody's got traumas in their lives, and it depends on how you relate to those things. And if you look at the full picture, it's funny. I went and wrote the book, and I read the book a couple of times. I'm like, this is really boring. You know, there's death, there's cheating, there's somebody taking my child, there's all these things that are like, this is so boring because it's not traumatic to me anymore. It's just been transmuted, and it's just part of life, and it's part of made me who I am. So, you know,
What a lovely thing to look at it and say it's boring.
it's just boring. And I told, giving it to a couple of people to read, and they're like, oh my gosh, you went through that? I'm like, yeah.
Quite extreme.
Yeah, it's strange. There's been death of boyfriends and parents, of course, and like I said, my daughter was taken from me and for a while, and it's just all those things that at the time you're crazy. It's like your mind goes into this emergency mode where you're scared, you want to run, you got to fight, or you just want to, what is it, fawn, flight, or flight.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's part of our physical body reacting to the energy of how we're perceiving the situation, and learning to look at things a little more like disconnected from them, as like, what's this trying to teach me, or what am I going to learn from this? It changes the way you perceive the situation.
Well, and it's the big trick of being in this human ride is learning how to do that while you're in the present moment.
Yep.
Right? Learning how to do that in real time.
Yep.
And that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
Carol, I see you having a thought now too. So what do you got over there, Carol? I know you've got something brilliant to piggyback off of what Marty's saying.
I would say transferring my trauma was, I was in a horrible, horrible relationship. It was actually my very first relationship. You know, when you're that first love and you think, oh my God, this is the one. And it just was the worst thing ever. I know a lot of my friends don't know this about me, but I was in a very, very abusive relationship. And I thought that was what love was in that moment, because you're young, you don't think anything worse. And it just got so extensive where the bruises were coming in. I started losing the weight. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I mean, I lost hope on just life in general. And, you get to that moment where you're just like, I don't even want to be here anymore. I still don't want to be here sometimes. I'm like, okay, guys, come on, I'm ready to go. But it's okay. I don't know what to do. But
we all have those moments.
Yeah.
We do.
It's just learning from that experience. I had to literally, I was so scared of him in that moment, because he always told me, like, if you leave, I'm going to kill you. If you leave. And I truly believed him, because he would show me all the guns and stuff in the house. And so I waited till he went to work. I got my stuff and I just left. I could not deal with it anymore. It was just, the beatings were just coming too much. And so me learning from that, have grown, and I've learned what is love and what isn't love. And so going through that experience, I was able to help other girls that I've, my coworkers, friends. They don't change. Like I'm going to change. They do not change. And so I don't care how much they can tell you they change. They do not change. It has to come from them, not from you. And so anyway, I'm thankful for having that experience, because I was able to help a lot of others during that time, especially with me doing tarot cards when they are crying and saying, oh, but I love him. And I see the horrible reading for them, and I just let it be, because that's their journey. And so it's totally up to them if they want to continue that path or go the other direction.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say, that this happened to me in a horrible way, but I was able to learn and grow and be stronger as a person in dealing with all that. So
and thank you for sharing and being vulnerable with that, Carol, as well. And I think that, the brilliant thing for all of these situations or circumstances or life happenings, when you share them with people, it becomes not so isolating. We do isolate ourselves in these situations, and we believe that, you become very internalized in the sense of thinking that nobody would understand it. But when you can come through these situations, share these kinds of experiences, share how you learn to be stronger for yourself, you can be a really brilliant example to other people. You can be the lighthouse that shows everyone that you're not those past experiences. You don't have to continue to blame yourself for things that you experienced that were unpleasant, uncomfortable, painful, difficult. You can transmute that. And sometimes just being that example to others is enough of a reason that your soul decided that you would experience that thing, right? And you can't always know in the moment whether your soul maybe selected that because you had a purpose to help others. You came in with that idea and you wanted to help certain kinds of people. Yeah. Well, if you're going to help certain kinds of people, you're going to need certain kinds of experiences in order to do that.
That's right.
So in the moment, you may not have realized it, but your soul had a plan and said, well, but you're going to be able to use this. You don't know it yet, but you're going to be able to turn this into gold. You're going to be able to convert this into fuel, right? You're going to be able to. Margie, what you got? I know you got more.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about the first couple of things that a lot of people went, what? When I was eighth grade in high school, between eighth grade and high school, my first love was killed in a car accident. And I dreamed it when it happened. And when my friends, we had actually moved out of state. It was weird. Anyway, so my friends called me to tell me, and I says, I already know. Like, how do you already know? How do you know these things? How do you always know these things? And as you think back in your life and you see the things that you really knew about ahead of time, but you didn't internalize them or recognize that you actually were given guidance ahead of time. It's interesting. Same with
it's very interesting.
when I was 18. You know,
Sometimes I used to think that was deja vu to me. I actually used to call that deja vu in its own way because I felt like I was things that I didn't learn from the first time I became aware of that and forgot about it.
yeah.
So maybe I was coming back. I don't know. It's very interesting, like the revealings of those illuminations.
Yeah, it's
Well, and it does also, something that we talk about very frequently, the idea that we all have these extrasensory perception capacities. We all have the ability to tune in and to have premonitory experiences, to have certain knowings about certain people or situations or circumstances. Your intuition is present for everyone. And maybe some of what we go through is because we forget that, because it's trained out of us. And you have to go through something difficult, something challenging, something that is isolating in order for you to remember. In order for you to remember. And so you can.
And really, isn't that what it's all about? Remembering? Sometimes it really feels like that. Just remembering the trauma so you can gain the value of why you went through it to help you with the present now, moving forward. It's always two states, isn't it? Sorry, Carol?
Lots of forgiving. Forgive.
Oh, yeah.
That you need to let that go. Let's just forgive them and let's move on. Yeah.
And forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
We could do a whole other podcast on forgiveness.
A whole nother podcast just for this subject.
Yeah.
And it's a big one too. It is, because I think collectively trauma is surfacing at a faster level than we've ever experienced, because we're given the opportunity by that greater collective of love to take stock, to take ownership, to take that authority of our God essence and just forgive, release it. Why would you want to hang on to it? You don't go to the same park if you don't enjoy it. You don't eat the same ice cream if you don't want it. We move away from experiences and we have these greater levels of discernment naturally. We can do that with pain as well, or perceived pain or hurt. You can sit with it. It's not going to get any worse.
No.
As my friend Lonnie Ray likes to say, all you got to do is ask yourself one question. Do I want more of this or less of it? If it's less of it, well, then you want something else and you got to go for that. And that does include your thoughts. And that does include the things that you allow yourself to relive and how you relive it. Right? Yeah. Sometimes it's not necessarily about the experience that you had. We are co-creators. We're bumping around in the bumper cars that are these human vessels with a whole lot of people. You're going to end up, sometimes damage is going to happen, right? But it's how you relive those old experiences, I think, and whether you decide to continue to relive them or either let them go or live them in a different perceived way in your mind so that you can move forward differently. Right. Do something other than what you did before. Yep. Sometimes, again, that is the gold that you get. That is the transformation that you receive, is that in experiencing whatever this thing was that was really painful for me, I learned that I don't want that anymore. And it means that I need to make different decisions about where I place my energy, where I place myself, what kind of activities I partake in, who am I allowing into my sphere, right? So again, back to sort of taking stock, like Marie said in the beginning. Sometimes these experiences just give you the opportunity to take stock. Do I want more of this or do I want less of it?
It's true.
I think now, Carol, it would be a great time. You're to grab another. Look at this just flowing conversation. I love it. And it's so true, I think, too, that a lot of folks are dealing with trauma, and it is something we are now prepared to look at as a collective society in ways we haven't before. Yeah. And I think that it's a valuable thing. Hey, guys, we're doing better than we think. Because at least now we're prepared to face things head on instead of avoiding it.
And support each other. And that's big for us, I think.
Absolutely.
I really do.
So the card I picked out is Stretch. And it says, Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for staying by my side and motivating me to take excellent care of myself in all ways. In all ways.
There you go.
Yeah.
Always. Raphael, I'm like, hey, I know you invited me and I'm going to give you my card. I just forgot the business card. Well done.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we needed to hear. Like helping
Yeah.
yourself always, even though you've gone through that trauma, you need to continue to help yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
helping
And you can
yourself
do it.
does help others. Hmm. It is a service to others to help yourself. It is.
It
Because when
is.
you're the best, healthiest, happiest version of you, that's when you can be of the most service. It's, I think that's another paradigm that's shifting in this, people being able to look at trauma, support each other, and looking at trauma, be not judgmental of one another when we speak about whatever things we've been through, so that others can speak up themselves and say, oh, okay, well, maybe I'm not so different from this or that person. Maybe I'm not the only one who's experienced this. Maybe this isn't something so heavy for me to share with others because they've been through it too.
Yeah.
Right. And so helping yourself really does allow you to be a better support for others.
You
And
also
trusting
know,
that.
oh,
Please,
sorry.
Karen.
I was
Okay.
just really quick. You also know who your true friends are when you are going through something this critical. I find that very interesting that a lot of people think, you seem to, when you're going through something so tremendously dramatic, your friends tend to flow off and whether not they're just not there to support you, and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. You just find out who your true friends are really are. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
That,
it is hard for a lot of people to put their own emotional things aside and help you deal with your things. But I personally find it easier to help other people because then it gets me in touch with source and helps me to also recognize things in myself that maybe I haven't completely dealt with, or reminders for myself as well as the other person.
Well, we're
that's all
all
part of that.
interconnected.
And that's all part of divine timing, that
Individual.
interconnectedness. And I couldn't agree more. And just for the audience to really stretch their brain out with this, you may have had a time in your experience where you've watched a motivational video or a healing aspect video for 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 10 minutes. You may have done a meditation and it may not have connected with you at that time, or you may have seen something or sent something to someone and it just didn't land.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that that's never going to happen. It's about divine timing. Maybe that video was the seed that will germinate later on. And when the next person puts that video out at the next point in time, that is the video that they were looking for. And that is the time that they will arrive at and seek that message. That's why we are a big community, because of this very reason.
I love that. That's something that I talk about on my other podcasts too a lot. And this is why I encourage so many people to do the thing you love and to put yourself out there and to not worry what people think. Because if there's something in you that you feel you want to share, that you're passionate about, even if it's just a fleeting idea you have in a moment, there's an audience for it. There's someone out there looking for it. If you have a gift to give the world, don't rob the world of that gift that you have. There's someone out there waiting for it. And no matter how many times someone may have done a meditation, a guided meditation, whatever is your particular thing, doesn't matter who out there is already doing it. Doesn't matter that you might be you say, oh, it's a saturated market. No, there are people out there who need your voice, your story, your resonance in that moment. You can't know when they're going to find you. You can't know what it's going to do to change their life. And you can't have any idea what part you can play in someone else seeing a story and saying, you know what, I am going to leave that relationship. It's no good for me anymore. You know what, I am going to take a chance and leave that job. You know what, I am going to believe in myself. You know what, I am going to try. And it's important to put yourself out there because you don't know who you're helping all the time. Sometimes you've helped someone and you go on with your day and you don't know that you just changed somebody's life.
Yep.
And you never know when that's going to happen.
More often than not.
Yeah.
More
it's
often than
amazing.
not. But that's why we're here, aren't we, beautiful fam? Sharing our stories and our traumas, being vulnerable, being open, showing you that it's okay to do that it's okay to share. And we are here to support you.
Yep.
We're happy for everyone to be here and share. Do you have any closings? You guys, this has just been such a perfectly little containered conversation. I don't know that we could possibly have done better or alchemized trauma into gold any more quickly for the wide multiverse. What a wonderful quantum multidimensional energy signature container we've created here together. I'm so thrilled about it. Would you like to share any closing remarks, friends and fam, for the audience? Or hey, guys, it's all okay. We've all been through trauma. Maria Angel, we'll start with you.
Enjoy this opportunity. Get back to basics. Take stock. Remember what it is that you're passionate about, what pushes you forward. And while you're doing that and the rest of it's rearing its head, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to put space between those things, those events, those experiences. Give yourself permission to forgive that version of you then, because you're not that version now. Take stock of that gold, pull it over your shoulder, march forward, and do what you want to do best. Live your life. No one's going to decide it for you. And this is a one-time opportunity, this experience.
I love it. Margie, what do you got?
I'd like to say that try to become an observer of everything and realize that things that happen in your life aren't just for you, they're for the whole collective. Everybody that you touch, you impact.
I love it. That's so true. It's not just for you, it's for the collective. Carol, I'm coming over to you now.
I would say help each other out. Humanity has gotten so far away from not helping others when you don't know what somebody may be going through. So I strongly just help someone, even if it's just getting them across the street or walking a blind person to where they need to be. Just help somebody. It doesn't cost anything to help another person.
It doesn't cost you anything. That is so true. And I would just like to say, I think, guys, it's not a bad thing to be in a tough situation. It's not a bad thing to be in pain. It's not a bad thing to experience trauma. It's not a bad thing that you're experiencing it now if you are in it right now. It's just a part of this human ride. And if you want, in the moment, you can decide that it's okay no matter how much it feels like it isn't okay. Because at the end of the day, we are all here for this human experience, but we are souls, energy signatures, call it what you will. We are infinite. We continue to exist even outside of this human avatar whenever it decides it's done with, being on. Put it back in the closet, the wardrobe, as you will, right?
Yep.
It's okay to be in it when you're in it, guys. Don't think that you're alone in it, and there is always somebody who can reach out a hand and help. So
And
it's good to
experience
help
it.
others and experience it, exactly, because you don't know what it's going to be for later.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So much gold.
Guys,
So much gold in this container.
It's
So much golden energy.
I tell you, we're just such effortless gods, are we not? Well done, Neuvias team, Neuvias fam, all the peeps who joined us in the comments. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, for sharing, for being vulnerable. Maria Angel, Margie, Carol, I've been Haleigh. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this episode of Whispering at the Party. Go get in the comments and the links below in the description, too. Check out all the places where you can find all of us and all of our Neuvias friends and fans. Okay. Join us again for another episode next week.
Awesome.
Thank you. Love y'all.
Hey, love.
Much love to everyone.